APIs are great, and Postman is a great way to explore and kind of figure out how an API works and what you are able to do with it. But APIs are not built for Postman, and they are built to be interacted with typically with code. You want to be able to use those things in code. So let's take the things that you have learned about APIs and make those work in JavaScript. So I have here on this page a beautiful web page. And if we look at my Firefox window, there it is. Right now it's running locally. If I put it on a server, the same exact thing would happen. So if we look at an API, let's look back at our web page. I have found here a nice, beautiful Shiba API that shows pictures of dogs. And all this API does, if you go to the API and don't pass it anything else, you just go to this exact URL up here, all it does is return you a picture of a dog. It's a terrible example, but it's an example of something that an API might be able to do. Lots of APIs can do lots of different things. So what can we do with that? How can we enhance this beautiful web page that I have certainly spent a lot of time working on? Well, I'm going to paste in some code, and then we're going to take a look at what that code does. Here's my code. This is all that it takes to interact with an API. You need some way for that interaction to happen, and you need the function that incorporates the API. So let's look back at the web page now, and if I refresh the page, I now have this new big button down here that says generate dog, and it currently says random dog image. Let's see what happens when we push the button. Look at that. We've got a picture of a dog. I can generate a new dog, and almost didn't see the dog under the vending machine there, but there's a little puppy down in the corner. And we generate a new dog, and there's a new dog. So now we've got our dogs. Now let's go back and look at the code and see what that's doing. We have our button that is calling the function, the JavaScript function, generate dog. It has the text generate dog. That's what we see on the page. We have an image with an ID of dog image. The reason we have that ID is so that we can reference it later in our JavaScript. And currently, at the beginning, it has an empty source. And we have the width, and we have that alt, and that alt is what set the random dog image that showed up on the page before an image showed up. That's the HTML tag that shows that tells HTML what should show if there's no image there, which there isn't to begin. And then we simply have a little script. And the little script that we have, this generate dog script, does a couple things really quick. First, it calls fetch. Fetch is JavaScript's function. It's a built-in function in JavaScript that is used to talk to other websites. You can pull information from a lot of places with fetch, from literally any place with fetch. So we fetched our image, and that returned that JSON. And then here, after the image returned, then we .then and say, pass the response and return response.json. We take the JSON there and return it, basically. There's other things on this response. You can look at the response headers, you can look at the response status code, and other things that are there. But typically what you're wanting when you're interacting with an API is the JSON. So you get response.json, and then you pass that response.json as data to the next thing. And what that is doing is it looks at for dog image by getting the element by ID, document.getElement by ID, dog image, which gets it this image tag. And then it sets the source of that image tag to data sub-0, which if you look back at the basic code that is returned, and if I zoom in here just a little bit, what is returned? It looks to me like it's an array. And the array has a single thing in it, and that single thing in it is the image. So what it is doing then is setting the source. Oh, sorry about that. It is setting the source of this dog image tag to the first thing in this data array that was returned. And so we've taken this image, we've added it now as the source of that image tag. And if there's an error, it'll catch it and return it. And that's it. That's how you interact with an API. All it does All you have to do is use fetch, and then with the data that is returned, figure out how to get what you want out of it, and then figure out a way to do something with that. Display that in the DOM by getting some element by image ID and then setting a parameter or setting the contents or setting whatever thing you need to be able to set that. And we can sit around all day, go back to our page and generate dogs, and it's going to generate wonderful pictures of dogs. And every time it does this, it's setting the image tag. And if we, let's see, if we inspect the elements now, we can see that the image tag is now D17, blah, blah, blah. That's the new image. If we do it again, the image tag is now changed and the source is this new image. So that's all that it's doing, is every time it's changing that image. And that's how easy it is to interact with APIs. The hard part is figuring out how the API works and how to get the information that you want out of it. Once you've got it, then it's just a matter of making a function with fetch to call that API and return and extract what you want out of it and set whatever values in the DOM you want to use. And that's it. You've got it. Good luck.